Shalom, shalom, shalom. Yasha, this your boy, Brother Samuel, back at you with another quick edifying video. Right, today's lesson is going to be called In the Last Days. Right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, right, whose name is Yahawah, and His only begotten Son's name, who He ignorantly called Jesus. Whose name is Yahawashi, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash, right? Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone from Tahar on down, who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth, right? Like I said, today's lesson is going to be called In the Last Days. And just looking at the video of the camp yesterday, and we kind of was talking about in the last days, and something came to mind. It was just Yahawashi, and I know the brothers who I labor with can attest, man. Like, he manifests stuff. We talk about it, and it just manifests itself right in front of us. And I know we was going over Edom, right? Esau and the whole thing or whatever, but then we were talking too, just about the things that we see going on, how we know it's in the last days. And then this happened. So I just want to play this a little bit, go over some scriptures and kind of get that. So Lord's will, this will be edifying. Okay. So let's get this.
This is how we definitely know we're living in the last days, man. Because people have divvied away from the true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, man, and have gone into the fables of men.
The fables,
you know what I'm saying?
Facts. And it says, and I will bring. It says, in return from their stiffness.
So we were talking about how that we are living in the last days, right? And here we go. Let's keep going.
From their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sinned before Yahawashi. How can we say a wicked Jake is going to remember those things if they're not trying to read? Brothers who keep saying, man, you ain't got to read. The scriptures is in your heart. How the hell you know about Jesus without the scriptures, man? How the hell you know you an Israelite without reading that? This shit not written in stone. Right. And when you see it in the movie The Mist, the Israelites, they don't specifically say black Latinos and natives. Right. You gotta search for it. You gotta have the spirit. The spirit gotta be in you to see it. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it has to reveal to you. Right. It has to put it on your mind to go search knowledge. Simple-minded man can't understand these scriptures, man. Right. If the Lord is not right, if the Lord not dealing with you, you're not gonna be able to get it. You're gonna be confused.
Right. So we're out here, we're prophesying, we're talking about, just things and events, and we're doing that, right?
That's why Yahawashi spoke in parables. Yeah. Right, and he told the disciples,
Sure did.
For you it is right. to know get that. But for them it's not. That's why I speak to them in parables. Right. Kind of paraphrase. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's not meant for everybody.
It's very thinking I'm building a third. Hold on, sir.
Yeah. So you see right now, like I say, we're talking about, living in the last days and things that we see. And then who comes, and manifest theirself, right? Here we go.
Bro, you gotta come up here in some order. Right. So, damn, this man just messed up with the hell I was about to say. I got you, Asher. It's crazy how the elect had to become so little to regain that glory of the Most High, man, because they had.
And so you see at first he comes, he says he apologizes, he does all that stuff. Let me keep going. Let me see if I can maybe skip a little bit.
And before, when you look at St. John chapter 15, verse 27.
On Jacob, who are the Israelites, the so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Americans, but he said, but Esau,
and we hated.
So if you see over to the left, while we teaching, my man over here, he rolling the blunt, he rolling the blunt. And this is the man who was behind the camera who came in kind of scoffing, and, then he's just kind of going back and forth.
So-called white man, right, or Hungarian or Irish, whatever the hell you want to be, right? He said that He hates them.
That's right.
He also said in the book of Amos, or the book of Acts, the book of Amos, the first chapter, verse, he said he wasn't going to turn away the punishment.
Malachi, because that's what that was.
Malachi 1:3. Y'all got you.
Bring it up.
This other one, he said,
What
he said he created the wicked for the day of evil.
Oh yeah, that's Job. Job 3.
Right. You said you want what?
Malachi 1.
All right, I got you.
And
Oh no, wicked for the day of evil. That's Proverbs 16. Right?
Okay, this is Malachi chapter 1. And I'm going to start at verse 2. It says, I have loved you, save.
So at first, you know, he came, he was kind of sitting there, but he, like if you watch it, you know, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but if you watch it, you know, the man was kind of just going back and forth and saying stuff, and you know, he, you know, shouting profanities and stuff like that or whatever. You know, we've gotten much better at how we deal with folks now. You know, or I can say we're getting better. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say we all the way, but we getting there, you know, especially when we know, you know, that these things, you know, shall come to pass. But it was just funny. I was just thinking about it. I was just like, man, you know, we were sitting there talking about we living in the last days, and then here we go with the scoffer and all that stuff. So, you know, we kind of gave him some scriptures, and then he kind of fled the scene, you know what I mean? So you can watch that, you know, if you go on the website and watch it. But I just want to go over a couple more precepts and see it, you know. But one other thing too, I want to show. Shalom, 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 Salakia. This is a continuation to the video that just previously hit. So, but like I was saying, I wanted to show something else too of the video, you know, that happened too, because not only was it with the scoffer, but there was some brothers over there who wanted to get edified, right? And I just want to just maybe skip to that real quick. Give me a second.
Verse 2. It says,
remember, he was coming on a ass's coat.
The spirit of truth.
So
brothers can get this knowledge.
And the thing about it is, you know, like I said, you had a brother who came and he wanted to get edified, you know, and all these things are prophesied in the last days of what's, you know, what's to come, you know. So, you know, like I said, you can go on the 716 Israelite. You can, you know, get edified and see the rest of the video, you know. But I want to get into some scripture, so let's just get into it, okay? So, like I said, the first part of the video, you know, what I said was we was talking, you know, and the scoffers come, you know, and then that reminded me of this video right here, or this scripture right here. What is it? 2 Peter, right? 2 Peter chapter 3 and 4, right? And it says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, right? And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation, right? And like I say, you know, the man kind of came over. First, he was kind of, you know, he came out, you know, real loud. We had to kind of, you know, shut him down a little bit. And then he kind of humbled down. Then he all of a sudden he kind of turned back up again. And he just kept, you know, going. You know what I mean? Just being that scoffing mentality, right? And the scriptures tell you that, you know, in the last days that there's going to be scoffers, right? There's going to be scoffers in the last days, right? And what's another? There's another one. What is it? 2 Timothy 3 and verse number 1. And it reads, and it says, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of them own selves, covetous, boisterous, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, right? You know, the false accusers, right? He called us, you know, he was a scoffer. Like I said, you watch the video, you'll see, you know, it says, incontinent, fierce, despisers of that are good, right? Of those that are good. It says traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of the Most High, having a form of godliness. Right, we know that this man, really didn't. Right, he coming up talking about the third temple and it's being built in Jerusalem right now. Right, it says, but denying the power thereof, it says, for such turn away. Right, and that's the thing, man. You know what I mean? We know that in these last days that we're gonna get, these scoffers, and we're gonna get all these different things that's, that the scriptures have prophesied are going to happen. And you have those of the circumcision who know too as well, who are going to go into different doctrines and things that were not of the truth, right? And we know that so all these things we know, that time is near, and that the destruction is coming to this place, man, because the prophecies and all these things are all taking place now in these last days, and what does it say? What is that in the book of Matthew, right? Kind of talks about that. Matthew 24 talks about a lot of stuff that's happening in the last days, that you see. You got the earthquakes in diverse places. You got nations rising up against nations, and kingdoms against kingdoms against kingdoms, and nations against nations, and stuff like that, right? And it says, this is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 33, and it says, so likewise, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Right, the end is coming, man. Right, it says, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Right, these prophecies and all these things are happening right before. This is a beautiful time to be alive, man. Right, to many of the prophets have sought to see these days, right, of all these things that they have prophesied about. And here we are living in these times, right? And the thing is, you got to take heed of what's going on, right? You got to take heed of what's going on, because Salaki, we know that this is it, man. We are close to the end, When Yahawashi said in verse 42 of Matthew 24 and verse 42, it says, watch ye therefore, for ye not know what hour your Lord do cometh, and it says in verse 44, it says, therefore be also ready, for such an hour as you think not the Son of Man cometh, right? And what we see is it's just a lot of stuff going on, right? We see the scoffers, we see the different things, around the world that we truly know, that this is the end is really, it is here, and we out here to warn the people, man, that, soon it's going to be, soon to come, it's just going to be, it's going to get crazier and crazier. The scriptures tell you about that, that evil shall wax, greater and greater in these last days, So, but on the other hand, what I saw too is, not only, the Yahawah Shai manifest the scoffer, but he also manifests, brothers who hearken into the word, right? And we're listening, right? And it had me thinking, and I don't think we didn't bring it out, but I wanted to bring it out too. But let's get this real quick. Let's go to the book of Acts, right? Chapter 2 and verse number 17. And it reads, and it says, and it shall come to pass in the last days, saith the Most High, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams, And it's just been, like I say, Yahawashi Shai has manifested this thing, many and multiple times. Usually when we bring stuff out, Yahawashi Shai will manifest that right in front of us as we're out there teaching, But even just throughout, every day too. I came across a young lady and was talking to her, and she was saying that her son, she said just one day he just started, like the spirit had jumped on him, and he was, talking about, things to come in the last days, and he was talking about, hey, that basically the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we're the Israelites, we're God's chosen people. All these things, have been prophesied, and you can see it, right? It manifests itself, to this day, right? And that acts is going into Joel, right? Let's get that. Joel chapter 2 and 28. And it says, Joel chapter 2 and verse 28, and it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions, right? And these are the things that are happening. You got brothers, in the ministry, man, they're having dreams and visions, right, about Jacob's trouble, about all these different things, man. All these things are coming to fruition in these last days. And like I said, when I seen also, not only, like I said, the scoffer, but I seen the brothers who were humbly, sitting there. One brother even brought out his Bible and was, he had his Bible in his hand. You know what I mean? And he, they were both very attentive. So, and it had me thinking about Deuteronomy, right? Deuteronomy chapter 30, right? I'm gonna get that. Like I said, this is not gonna be too long, but I wanted to kind of go over this, but this is Deuteronomy chapter 30. I'm gonna start at verse 1, and it says, "And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations where the Yahawah thy power have driven thee, and shall return unto Yahawah thy power, and shall obey his voice according to all I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahawah thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations where the Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi thy power, have scattered thee." Right, and this is what we happen. People are waking up and remember themselves. They're calling to mind. The Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is pouring out his spirit upon all flesh. That all flesh is the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? And now they're calling into mind who they are. Hold on, I'm not Black, I'm not Puerto Rican, right? I'm not Jamaican. Hold on, I'm an Israelite, right? They're calling to mind, and they're coming back, right, to our true power in these last days, And he's pouring out his spirit, and is giving us that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to go out and to prophesy, right? And to prophesy the downfall, of this place, right? According to, what's that? Jeremiah. Let's get that. Jeremiah chapter 28. And let's start at verse number 7. It says, "Nevertheless, hear thou now this word that I speak in thine ears, and in the ears of all thy people. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence," right? And that's what we go out to do. We go out to prophesy, especially the downfall of this wicked kingdom, man. Spiritual Sodom and Egypt, right? The daughter of Babylon, right? Mystery Babylon, right? Which we know is America, And we come to prophesy, like our forefathers, the downfall of this place, right? And it's just a beautiful thing to see these things played out in these days, man. That we see all, you have the scoffers, right? You got all these different things happening around the world. You got the uproars of the people, all these things, We see the implementation of the MARK, of the MOTB, right? We see it in place, right? Where they got the CBDC talking about, hey, it's going to go under your flesh, right? All these things are coming to fruition, So, and this just helps your faith even greater to understand that all these things that the scriptures are saying, these things are going to happen, It says, what does it say? Let's go back to Matthew, right? Because what's happening now, with everybody waking up, right? You got the scoffers doing their job, and you got all these different things. You got the those folks who have basically forsaken, the gospel, and they're preaching another gospel. You got all these different things happening, And in the book of Matthew, right, it says, Matthew 24, verse number 14, Salakia says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come, right? And that's how we know, because this gospel is being preached to all four corners of the earth, and it's being preached upon all the world, right? As a witness, And it says, I jump up to verse 13, it says, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved, right? And that's what we striving for, We striving to stay diligent, stay focused, and enduring, And one of the major things is to be able to watch for these things, right? And I know I bring this up a lot of times, but this is, it's important, right? I started this is Luke 21 and verse 34. It says, and take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and the cares of this life, so that the day come upon you unaware, right? A lot of things are distractions in this world, but like you say, when you sit there and step back and you see, I was just thinking about yesterday out there, and like you had the scoffers, you had all these different things, and understanding that, these scriptures are true, and hold true, right? And it says, and take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and the cares of this life, so that the day come upon you unawares. For as a snare shall it come upon all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. Right? So you got to be able to watch these things, right? Because when you're watching, when you're looking for things, you're looking for certain things, right? You see the scoffers, okay? You see, the young men and the old men and the women, and you see them, having dreams and doing these things, right? The last days, right? You see these nations going up against nations and all these things that that you're living, in the time, that these scriptures is talking about, and that the end is near, right? And what does it say in 2 Peter 3 and what is it? Let's start at verse number 9, right? It says, 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9, it says, Yahawah is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to us, word, not willing that any should perish, but all should come to repentance. But the day of the Lord, or the day of Yahawashi will come as a thief in the night, and the day which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of person are ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, right? So what, you got to get yourself together, knowing that this is the last days. These are the last days, man. Right? These are the last days, and we see everything, coming to fruition and manifesting itself in these days. It says, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Right? And that's talking about those ICBM missiles, right? That are going to hit this place, Babylon, and turn it into the lake of fire. Right? But knowing that, and knowing that you live in the last days, what type of person should you be? Right? What manner of person should you be? And you need to be getting right if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American. Right? Because you are an Israelite. You need to get yourself together and get right with your power, right? And the Son, right? With Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi in these last days. So Lord's will, this was edifying. Right? I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say Kahala Yahawah, Bahasham Mashiach Yahawashi, Bahasham Rawchaa Qadash. Peace and blessings to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the hopeful elect. Right? Stay strong, stay diligent, stay focused, and understand that we live in the last days. Right? And conduct yourself in those ways, man. Right? Continue to work, to strive for perfection, and continue to do this work. And with that, shalom.